Today, we're going to show you how to use the Derive node in Euclid Studio. The Derive node can be found here under the Columns section. The purpose of the Derive node is to create a new column based on information that's present in your existing data set. There's a couple ways that we can go about achieving this, and today we're going to go through two of them. So let's take a look at some data that we have. Here you can see that we have some items that each have a height, a width, and a length. So let's say we were planning the storage of these items and it was important for us to know the volume. So we can use the Derive node to generate a new volume column that will be a product of these existing three. So let's jump into the Derive node and see how that's done. So the first thing we need to do is to define the name of the column. So up top here, we're going to call it volume. We're going to use JavaScript to get us to the finish line for this example. We'll go ahead and select JavaScript here and then go to the JavaScript tab as well. We have a row object that Euclid Studio provides in the context of this JavaScript that essentially gets us each row, and think of the script applying to each row of the data set one by one by one, looping through for all of the rows. And we're able to get each data point for each column in the row using this row.get functionality. So here we're getting the height for the first row, multiplying it by the width for the first row, multiplying it by the length for the first row. And it's being stored in this TMP temporary variable that we're using. And whatever the value of TMP is at the end of the script for each row, that value will be placed in our new volume column for that row. And then this will run for each row in our data set. So let's take a look and see what we get when we preview. All right, there we go. We have our volume column, and it includes the product of height, width, and length for each of these rows. Now we're going to take a look at how we can achieve a similar behavior but using regular expressions from a different data set. So here we have a data set that includes a bunch of different sellers and their products. Let's say that we wanted to go through these products and find all the ones that relate to apples. How do we do that using the Derive node? Well, first we're going to jump in, we're going to choose regular expression, and then we're going to choose regular expression down here to make sure that we're all lined up to use regular expressions. We're going to define our new column name, so I'm going to call that apple product because we're searching everything that has to do with apples. And then we're going to define a regular expression. So for those of you who are not familiar with regular expressions, it's simply a way to represent the strategy that you're going to use to search through text. So in this example, we want to search for everything that contains the word apple, and we want it to be case insensitive. So we have some syntax here in our regular expression, this first little bit, that basically says, make sure that everything is case insensitive for the term apple. And more particularly, we want this expression to apply just for the product column. So to play that back, what's going to happen is for each row, for the product column, we're going to search that corpus of text using this regular expression. And if we find that term, it's going to be flagged as a 1 in our apple column. So let's see it in action. All right, you can see first row contains the term apples, which contains our apple regular expression, so it gets flagged as a 1. Same for apple fritter, and for hot apple cider, we have a 1 as well. There you go. That's how you can use the Derive node to generate a new column and derive more meaning from your data set.